Oh, welcome to a video. It's a video about my wrist fusion tonight. And where we're up to and what's happening. There are a lot of you out there who've watched all the videos. They're all on the channel and they're all in order about what I've been through over the last couple of years with the wrist. There'll be a few of you who have never ever watched one of the videos about my experiences, so I'll bring you up to speed. We're going to go back a number of years when I was riding motorbikes on a regular occurrence. And it was just after Christmas, New Year sort of time, and I was coming home from work. And I was travelling up a 2-lane road. And on this 2-lane road there's one junction, and it's a crossroads. My right of way. And I'm coming up to the junction and I'm slowing down from supersonic speed down to double figure speed, and I've seen a car approaching the junction to my right, because it's a good open view, this crossroads. You can see what's coming up and down the road. It's a really good view. And I've seen this gentleman come up to the crossroads and he stopped. Well, yep, it's night time, I've got my lights on, he's seen me. So I carry on going. I'm ready, you never know what's going to happen. Just as I get to the crossroad to go across it, he decides he's going to pull out. So out across the front of me he comes, so I'm here, he's here, bang, hit him, smack bang in the middle, between the two doors. Over the roof, bike follows me, I do Superman impression, hit the road, snap that wrist, snap this wrist, and destroy my kneecap in the accident. At the time of the accident I didn't realise what damage I'd done to myself. And I come down, I've landed on my hands, snap snap, damage. Lie there for a couple of minutes, just sort of like, what the hell's just happened? Pick myself up, helmet off, and as a motorcyclist the first thing you think is, where's my bike? So I find my bike, realise there is no way I'm riding that bike any further, it's too badly damaged. So I managed to pick it up and I throw it in the hedge. Now I turn round to find out what I've hit, and there's not a soul about, there's not a car about, nobody, I'm on my own. The car's carried on, he's gone off on his way, don't think he even realised what he'd done. So I'm on my own, destroyed bike, and I'm probably 10 miles from home. So I get on my feet, helmet's under my arm, and I'm walking. No mobile phones back then, didn't have mobile phones. All you had was telephone boxes. Nearest telephone box is in the next town, which is a good 3-4 mile walk up a dark A road. So I'm tromping off, considering all this happened at 5 o'clock in the evening. I'm stomping off up the road on my pins, walking. And I'll throw a map up here now to show you where I had the accident and where I got to. Basically the crossroads was called Borch Crossroads, and it's between a place called Rudlam and Abergele. Along the roundabout in Abergele now is a big McDonald's, so I get almost to McDonald's, and I've not seen a car because we're between Christmas and New Year. There's next to nobody on the roads. I've not seen anybody, but I'm still walking. No idea what the time is, no idea how long it's taken me, but I've got that far. And a guy, I see headlights, so I get to the side of the road and he pulls over. This guy's got some money because he's got power windows in his car. This was before power windows were standard. We had the old windy up ones in my day. He takes one look at me and he goes, "Do you want a lift?" And I went, "I'm alright, I'm going to walk home." So he goes, "No, you're not walking home looking like that." He goes, "Get in," he says. So I accept his lift and we get talking and he says, "Where are you going?" I said, "Back to Colwyn Bay." And he looks at me and he goes, "You're not going back home," he says. "Have you seen the state here?" He says, "You've got blood flowing out your knee. You've got two hands. Well, my fingers are not here. They're here on both hands. Clean snapped them and they've both come straight back. Not realised this. Shock. No pain. All the adrenaline. I've not felt any pain." So he takes me to Buddlewood Hospital, Glenclwyd Hospital. And he drives up to a casualty, stops. He says, "Do you need a hand?" No, I can get in there, no problem. So I thank him. He did give me his name, and I can't remember it. Not to this day can I remember who he was. Big thank you to whoever he was if he's watching the video. But he got me to the hospital. And I walk into the hospital, go up to reception. This is where things go a bit crazy. The lady takes one look at me, says, "Wait there a second," she says, runs out of her office, gets me a chair and sits me down where I am. She says, "You stay there." Within 2 minutes, there's a trolley, more nurses and doctors than I've ever seen in my life, and I'm gone. I'm into casualty. At this point they start asking me questions. What have I done? Where did it happen? What time did it happen? Say, it was around the 5:30 mark when I had the accident. It's now 7:30 in the evening. So it's taken me 2 hours to get from accident, hospital. Doesn't feel like that to me. It feels more like half an hour, 45 minutes, because I'm totally oblivious to what's going on in the world and time. I've got no concept of time. So go through all the crap. They're prodding, they're tugging, they're pulling, looking at the injuries. I'm rushed off to X-ray. Then I'm prepped for theatre. And the next thing I remember is waking up the following morning and I'm lying in bed with a leg elevated, 2 arms elevated, thinking, that's not my ceiling. I do not know. I haven't got a clue where I am. No idea. Not got a clue. So I'm now totally bamboozled. Been out for the count, been to surgery, anaesthetised, slept all night, woken up, I've no idea what the time is. Sort of, yeah, there's things going on around me, but I haven't got a clue where I am, what's going on, nothing. So, wake up, find the bell, ring the bell, somebody comes. nice nurse who's on the ward. And she goes, "Oh, you're back with us." Says, "I'll go get the doctor who's looking after you." He turned up about half an hour later, and he tells me what I've done. Clean break, radius and ulnar on both arms. Smashed my kneecap. So tells me what they've done, and he says, "We've got you as stable as we can at the moment." And he says, I'll be back to see you when I do my rounds." Fair enough. So I'm gagging for something to drink. They make me a drink, some water, give me some painkillers, and that's basically the start of everything that happened. How I got the injury initially. So we'll go. I had another couple of surgeries on the right wrist after the initial accident. The left healed up really, really well. I got full motion, everything. I've got no problem with the left. I have issues with the knee still, but it doesn't stop me doing anything. But I do have some issues with it, but we keep going. The right wrist, they never quite got it right. They never set it right. I think they had 4 attempts, and it was just so unstable and so badly damaged. It got to the point where I went, "Fuck this, not interested in any more surgeries, just leave it alone, let's let it settle down over the next couple of years, and we'll go from there." Well, the next couple of years morphed into quite a few years. And then I started having some mobility issues, stability issues with the right wrist, which is when I decided, right, now's the time to get this wrist sorted out, find out what's going on. To find out, as my surgeon put it, and I don't know if it's an actual medical term, but he said galloping arthritis. Basically because they hadn't set it correctly. The ulnar bone had grown in length by quite a considerable sum, impacted itself into the carpals in the hand, and had slowly been eating away at the carpals. It had pushed all the carpals across. They'd all been munching away at each other. So I ended up with arthritis in the wrist, both sides. All the carpals were damaged. So we came upon a plan, and the plan was initially to try and take pressure off the carpals, was to shorten the ulnar bone. And they took 10mm out the ulnar bone, which gave me a plate on the ulnar bone. So we do a follow-up in 6 months' time, and I'm still in a lot of pain. I've got motion in it at this point, where I can move it like I can with the other wrist, but limited, but usable, but painful. So the surgeon said, "Look, there's that much damage in the hand. All I can do for it now is one of two things. We do a wrist replacement joint, but he says, I think you're too young for that, because they've got a finite life, the wrist joints. And I think with what you do for a job, your hobbies, and the fact I'm very heavy on my hands," he says, "I don't think it's going to last very long." So he says, to alleviate the pain, the best plan of attack is wrist fusion, which meant my wrist is locked in that position, so I can do that rotation, but there's no movement in it. I can't do that with it. Well, I can live with that, because I can still use my fingers, I've still got rotation, we can sort that out. So we have the wrist fusion done, and whilst he's in there, it also, because by now the end of the ulnar bone is so badly damaged and it's beginning to flake away, and it's so rough, even though he's shortened the ulnar bone by 10mm, it's so rough, he decides, I'm chopping the end of the ulnar bone off. And the next surgery is going to be ulnar head replacement. Great, brilliant. That stops the ulnar bone from flapping about, causing loads of pain. Because what happened after the head was removed and I had the wrist fusion, because where they put the plate in the ulnar bone was on the inside of the bone, and now that was rubbing on the plate for the wrist fusion, so that was causing me a lot of pain. Because when two pieces of metal that are inside you touch, it's like having an electric shock. In the meantime, I managed to bend the wrist fusion plate. When my hand should be straight, I ended up with a hand like that and also twisted over because I bent the plate. So now I have to go in and have a wrist fusion rectification where they took the old wrist fusion plate off, repositioned the hand, but in bending it I also snapped the radius, which I didn't know about until they're doing the second wrist fusion operation. So he does the wrist fusion, then he has to put another plate on the radius at the bottom, which is why now I've got 3 plates in this hand and about 21 screws. That was done Octoberish, September, Octoberish, I can't remember the exact date. It's in one of the videos. May have been earlier than that. April, May, June. No, it would have been the April 2018 or 2019. April 2019. April, March time. I think it was March, because I seem to remember having all the March off work. April, May, June, going back to work in July, I had 3 months off. Yeah, it was March. Second wrist fusion plate and the repair on the radius. That was to stabilise it, ready for the wrist joint replacement or the ulnar head replacement, whichever was going to go ahead. So I had the date set for the November of 2019. That surgery is cancelled because the surgeon was ill. Then I had another date of the January 2020. For some unforeseen reason, that was cancelled about a week before the surgery. I never did find out why. And it was reassigned for March 2020 to have the surgery. And the surgery should have been second week in March. And it was on the lead up to the coronavirus in the United Kingdom. Because we went into lockdown on the 23rd of March 2020, and it was the week before I was meant to be having the surgery on the wrist. So I ran the hospital up on the Monday. Surgeon said yes, we're still doing it. Tuesday I confirmed with him in the evening, am I still coming in on the Wednesday morning to have my wrist done? And he says yes, definitely, we're going to do yours. No problem. So the usual crap, don't eat anything after midnight on the Tuesday night, go to bed, get up early in the morning, and I'm on my way on the Wednesday morning to the hospital with my bag, expecting to stay in a day or two, and I'm halfway to the hospital and the phone rings. It's Glenclwyd, Bangor Hospital. I'm sorry, but we've cancelled your surgery. In fact, we've cancelled everything, she says, with what's happening in the country at the moment. We'll be in touch with you when we can get you done after we've got over whatever's going to happen, because they weren't sure what was going to happen. So that was March, cancelled. Heard nothing off them all year, because we all know what's been going on around the world, COVID-19. Here in Wales we've had 1, 2, 3 lockdowns now. We're in our third. We had the big lockdown, then Wales had something called a fire break, which lasted a couple of weeks. Well, Wales just shut down, and then just before Christmas, 20th of December, our First Minister put us into lockdown again, and we're still in it. So that stopped everything. So I'm still none the wiser when this is going to happen. If it's going to happen this year, I've got a funny feeling not. I think it's going to dwell into 2022. But if things do happen, things do move, and they get the COVID situation sorted, and they can find a gap when the numbers start dropping and they feel safe to do it, I have been promised they will do it. So I'm none the wiser. Whole reason for the video is just those of you who have been following the channel are probably thinking, is he still with us? Has COVID got him? What's he up to? All I'm doing is, I'm still here, I'm COVID free, I haven't contracted it, I've managed to stay working through every lockdown, I've had 2 days off last year, and that was Christmas Day, Boxing Day. I've worked every single day of the year, and that's 7 days of every week. I haven't stopped. The trade I'm in, luckily for me, we have been so busy making components that have been going into medical equipment. We have just been running flat out, and we are still running flat out. So I'm afraid some people have had work over COVID, some have been working from home, some, I'm really sorry for them, they've lost businesses, they've shut their businesses, they're never going to reopen, they can't reopen, even if they wanted to at the moment, they can't even reopen. I'm absolutely gutted for them, really, really feel sorry for them, but that's the update on the wrist. I can't, there's nothing more I can say now. I'm just waiting, and that's all it's about now. I've just got to sit, wait my time, hope they sort the COVID situation out. I know they've got a vaccine now, but it's going to take a long time to get the numbers down and get them to an acceptable level. But I'm a realist, and I think we are not going to cure COVID. We're going to have to learn to live with it like we live with the common cold, like we live with the flu. We've just got to learn to live with it. Change the way we do things a little bit. Anyhow, this has probably been a long video. So thank you all again for taking the time, 1, to watch the videos, 2, to listen to me, and like I always say, if anybody's got any questions about what I've been through, the wrist fusion, the ulnar shortening, anything, whether it's you're worried about going for the surgery, making the decision to go for it, what's going to happen in the surgery, what's going to happen afterwards, what you can do afterwards. Well, if you're worried about what you can do afterwards, all I can say to you is, if you're watching this on the Wrist Fusion channel, go to my other channel, North Wales Side by Side, tag the dates on the videos, and just see what I get up to with this wrist. You will be amazed what you can do when you put your mind to it. And now, once again, thank you very much. All stay safe, look after yourselves. Any questions, you know where I am. Fire questions at me. I'm happy to answer. Might take me a little while to get to you. We've been so busy. I'm working. What am I working at the moment? We're doing 14-hour days. So finding the time to get in here and make a video can sometimes be quite hard. But anyhow, thank you very much. And good night, stay safe.